Professor Krishnaraj, I definitely agree with you that this is more of a growth budget, and it looks like the government is really focused on the fact that so many people have commented about the GDP growth and the growth rate, which has gone up and fallen, and not enough and not sufficient. And I also, have been trying to hunt through the budget to find whether there is anything. I mean, like what you mentioned, those items are there, but and also the presentation that was done, but it doesn't reflect the fact that we are in a kind of a different situation in the world, and especially in countries like India, especially being so close to the equator, and there are so many of our states which are facing so many of these issues. Like you rightly pointed out, it is if at all there is anything in the budget, it is more towards mitigation, highly, if at all. Although, like you also said, when you continue to emphasize on the not only just the coal production, but the entire fossil fuel subsidies, the renewable energy doesn't have a chance, because it is very difficult to ignore the explicit, implicit subsidies, and then try to go for renewable energy. Like you said, that there may be some specific schemes, like they have said about the Surya program, and that Surya Ghar, and for the houses and all that. But like many people have pointed out, how much is the real impact? Is it will it really help us to meet that kind of targets which they are trying to project? Even atomic energy, it has got. I mean, if you are if you really do a proper think through, you also have to see what are the not just the environmental compensation, but also that what are the kind of infrastructural arrangements that you have to make when you give such a big push to things like nuclear energy. This is we have gone through this whole aspect even in the 90s, that so many of the nuclear energy programs could not really go through entirely because of this very fact, that finding land for burying the waste, or any of those issues, like compensating people whose lands are taken away, or even what is the impact of when you either mine for whether it is lithium or any of the minerals that they have mentioned. There is, of course, a huge push in this budget for the minerals mining also. But when you talk about environment and the budget, what you would really like to see is whether there is a kind of a proper association. That is, what are the kind of impacts that this kind of push will have, and what is the kind of mechanisms that you have to do so that your program will actually go through, even if it is a mitigation budget. And I feel that some of these many of these projects, whether it is solar, or of course wind, this time has in fact lost out. It has, in fact, the budget has been reduced, and some of the other cases also, the adequate amount of, like for instance, I'm largely from the waste sector, and last year we saw quite a big push for biomass based, like biogas and Satat program, and how to link PNG, and like somebody pointed out, the urban aspect of how to link waste management. And this year, there is absolutely nothing on it. So even if it is a mitigation budget, or even if it is a budget which is, promoting EVs, electrical vehicles, and the batteries which are required for it, and also mining and minerals, so that we are self-sufficient. It doesn't. It doesn't. Doesn't have a think through, according to me, because, for instance, there are also ways that, last year also, the year before also, there was a lot of emphasis on how we can do electronic waste recycling, so that, some of those rare earths and some of the minerals which we require for increasing manufacturing in the electronic sector, even for the electronic vehicles, we would have ways of finding it. This year, I find that there is absolutely no integration whatsoever between some of these sectors, which would have actually also led to, and there is no, obviously, everybody has mentioned that there is no mention of unemployment and how how they are going to, there are so many potential, like for instance, we consider, at least in the urban sector, so many waste workers. We are not just talking about only waste recycling in terms of plastic or paper or something like that, but even in the e-waste industry. I mean, if you really do proper skill development, and there is, of course, a huge case for just transition. These are the kind of places where we could have actually linked, renewable energy with, just transition, with utilizing urban workforce, and also linking it with, waste management, and several other urban programs, which were all started in the last, I would say, 10 years, but there doesn't seem to have had any integration. And even the Jal Shakti, and that
Madam, 7
program.
minutes are
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
So there also I find that it seems to be all in separate silos, and most importantly, being also associated with a health organization, Center for Chronic Disease Control. I would say that the most important thing about adaptation, we are finding that state governments are now feeling really nervous. There are so many state governments which are, themselves, trying to say that heat is a very important, problem that they are going to have. Floods and drought and rehabilitation and sanitation. There are states in which, whether it's Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Odisha or so many other places, or even Assam, where flooding has become such a big problem that, we are not able to go ahead with sanitation and even water, the Jal Shakti Yojana programs. So I feel that, there should have been much greater emphasis, that now that, we have crossed the 1.5 degrees Celsius increase, that adaptation and along with mitigation, and especially rehabilitation, prevention, and much bigger funds allocation for safeguarding the population, and getting them to be much more resilient. That is what I would have expected from this budget.